Pozwolą Państwo, że rozpoczniemy naszą dzisiejszą
Ladies and
konferencję.
gentlemen,
Rozpocznę od przywitania
if you allow me,
gości
let me start our session. Let me welcome our guests and our host. I welcome most cordially Jacek Majchrowski, the mayor of the city of Krakow, our host today.
Witam serdecznie panią poseł Barbarę
I would like to welcome Barbara Bobula, member of Polish Parliament, deputy head of the Parliamentary Committee on Digitization and New Technologies. She also participated in the first forum last year, being on a part of the social forum. Edward Poremski, member of the City Council of Krakow.
I witam naszych prelegentów.
I welcome our speakers. Let me welcome Professor Olivier Chauvin.
Witam pana profesora
I'd like to welcome Professor Dominique Belpont.
Panią profesor Alicję Bortkiewicz.
I welcome Professor Alicja Bortkiewicz.
Pana profesora Janusza Mikułę.
Professor Janusz Mikuła.
Pana doktora inżyniera
I welcome Dr. Jacek Stępień.
Panią doktor Barbarę
Dr. Barbara Gaudzińska-Calik.
I do tego wszystkiego moja skromna osoba. Ja jestem radną miasta Krakowa. Nazywam się
My name is Marta Patena. I'm also a member of the Krakow City Council. Can I give the floor now to Mr. Majchrowski, the mayor of the city of Krakow?
Wielce szanowni państwo,
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome all of you here in our city hall in Krakow. It's been for quite a long time now that we in Krakow have been taking very serious steps, realizing the different problems related to the current situation because of the political climate, perhaps, and also the journalists, what they wrote is that Krakow is a very polluted city, a very significant problem. As you know, it is not quite true because we were simply the first large Polish city that started actually taking measurements of local pollution. When similar measurements were made in other cities, it turned out that some other cities have a more serious pollution to fight. Well, of course, much remains to be done, and the situation is far from perfect. But one of the elements that was not really taken into account until recently is electromagnetic environmental pollution. The reason is that, on the one hand, we would like everyone to have good access to mobile coverage, to be able to use comfortable mobile phones, to have Wi-Fi networks available. But on the other hand, we have to be aware of the pollution caused by electromagnetic devices. Very often stations that actually transmit outside the range that is allowed by legislation. It is a very serious difficulty. Now and then, as you know, local residents protest. They want mobile stations to be removed, so they want to introduce a ban on the construction of new ones. I quite understand this approach, but let us remember that as soon as we have very good measurements, if we have scientific data available, if mobile operators keep to legislation, then I think both will be possible. On the one hand, we will have no serious electromagnetic environmental pollution. On the other hand, we should have good access to mobile telephone coverage, Wi-Fi coverage. As you know, we are starting now the second international forum. The first forum was held last year, and we're going to continue with those meetings on a regular basis. I'd like to thank Marta Patena, Councillor of the city of Krakow, who actually initiated this series of conferences. She actually is very much concerned with this issue, trying to find solutions and also to promote the idea among our residents. Can I also thank the French Consul General, who also became very much involved in our initiative It is thanks to him that we will be able today to listen to the position of French experts. France was probably the first country that actually decided to tackle this problem and has already collected some serious experience. We are hosting today speakers from France. I would like to thank them very much for being here with us today. It's always good to work on the basis of somebody's experience once you already know what others have achieved, what the threats are, and how they can be counteracted. I hope that this conference is going to bring some tangible results for all of us so that we know more about what the current problem is and what can be done so that the threats are removed. I wish you very fruitful discussions here. Thank you very much.
And this is the moment, ladies and gentlemen, when, if we look for something on the internet, there is this application, I'm not a robot, CAPTCHA, and this is proof that I'm not a robot because I have not remembered to welcome the ambassador of France, because as the President has said, without the consul's presence, we wouldn't be able to invite and maybe invite, but actually get such great speakers to come. And one more piece of information, Minister of Health, Konstanty Radziwiłł, has sent us a letter excusing his absence and saying that he's very sorry that he could not, but that he's very happy that in the spirit of care for its residents, the authorities of Krakow, through this conference, are trying to provide the most recent information about artificial electromagnetic fields. And the Minister of Infrastructure and Construction, Mr. Jacek, is also sorry that he could not participate, and he is wishing us all the best. He is the minister who comes from Krakow. He is a parliamentary representative from the Krakow region, and he does know this problem. As the mayor has said, we have had such meetings, but the first one was last year, and at that time the mayor compared the protection of environment to the protection of historic heritage, and he promised to all residents that Krakow would implement protection and remedial activities to protect the human health. And the president of an international organization supported by best scientists from all over the world, who deals with the impact of EMF, artificial EMF, on the health and environment. And this is an organization that cooperates with over 100 different organizations, NGOs in the world, including Polish ones, presented the activities by the European Parliament, European Environmental Protection Agency, WHO, and also insurance companies and other organizations with regard to the health impact of artificial EMF. Professor Ole Johansson from Karolinska Institute of Sweden, which awards the Nobel Prize in Medicine, presented last year his evidence about the health effects of being exposed to EMF, and he emphasized that this problem now requires a new approach to the protection of public health, and special care and protection and prevention should apply to fetuses, to women who are pregnant, to children. And he said that the current limits of electromagnetic safety are not sufficient for long-term exposure of low harm, because health effects are seen at levels much below the current standards. Professor Majchrowski from the Cybernetics and Biochemical Engineering of the Polish Academy of Science said that in Poland, at a number of centers, research is being done on the impact of the EMF on organisms, and the experiments have shown that low-intensity EMF that does not cause thermal effects actually speeds up the sprouting of corn seeds, so it definitely impacts the human health. Live organisms are chaotic systems, and the impact of EMF is analyzed using fractal methods, which allow you to assess whether a given person is hypersensitive to the impact of certain frequencies of the radiation. And Mr. Sławomir Mazurek, who is the Undersecretary of State in the Ministry of Environment, said that the experience of Krakow shows that the cooperation between the local government and central government has been started in practice, and as a result of this cooperation it will be possible to solve contemporary and future problems of ensuring the balance between the interests of users of mobile communication and the installation of the network elements and the health, because this would ensure the sustainable development of the civilization. And Professor Lis from Lublin University said that based on the report of the Central Audit Institution, which covered proceedings in Warsaw, Krakow and Lublin for the years 2000 and 2014, showed that there is a need to categorically determine the details of how you can build base stations of for cell phones. And Ms. Olszewska-Day has mentioned that our councillors have been dealing with the electromagnetic problems in Krakow since 2010, that there were 3 resolutions that were passed, addressed to the legislator, and the office will be equipped with the special electronic equipment that will show the distribution of EMF from all base stations in the vicinity, including the newly applied, and this equipment was bought, and if there are any doubts, then the authority will check the level of radiation. Ms. Czapik has described her meetings at the city resident dialogue center, where she talked to residents who were concerned about the level of electromagnetic field where they live and where they work, and they will get personal exposure meters, which will be bought by the municipality and given to them to check. And every resident can check the city portal and see where base stations are located in the vicinity of where they live, and the city distributes leaflets about the safe use of mobile equipment. We have said last year that since we have learned to recycle waste, to avoid noise, to protect the greenery, to protect the air, so we can start protecting the environment from the electronic smog, as it were, so we can try to switch off our mobile phones, switch off the functions that we don't need right now. At night we can switch other equipment at home off, like wireless, and we have seriously taken the words of Professor Johansson about protecting the weakest, that is children, infants and pregnant women, and this is why today at this forum we'll be talking about the protection of children from EMF. And I have already said that there was this intellectual support from the ministry, but this support is not enough. We need action, because the problems of our residents are not decreasing, they are spreading in accordance with the cases that have been described and the situations that were described in Krakow PL in the article called The Resident Comes to the Councillor. Today we will find out from the residents who have been, from the speakers who have been invited, about the projects conducted to protect the environment from EMF. Since the order has been changed, the first topic today will be the legal aspects of protecting the citizens against the electromagnetic field pollution generated by base stations on the example of France, and this will be presented by Professor Oliver Cachard, who is a professor of law, the honorary dean of the legal department. He works at the Institute of François Géry at the University de Lorraine, and he is the author of a book on artificial EMF published in 2016 for lawyers and decision makers. Before I invite the professor, I should tell you that Europarlamentarian Michel Rivasi could not come. Member of the European Parliament Michel Rivasi could not come. This is why I spoke for a while, presenting the history of the work in this city, and now I would like to ask the professor in hand.